Greetings to all of you from India, Mysore. Namaste to all of you. So my presentation today is on what is the title I have given is towards bridging the two streams of knowledge on the primacy of consciousness. So that is my slides. I will try to quickly wrap up and make up for the time we have lost. So I was introduced to consciousness studies back in 1977 as part of my doctoral training program. And since then, I have been following up what is happening in the field. And there are two trends. One is within the Cartesian dualism. Another is beyond Cartesian dualism. And I am more concerned with beyond Cartesian dualism because there are two trends going on. One, which is guided by modern quantum physics, another by spiritual traditions of India and other cultures. So there have been concerted efforts to bridge the understanding about nature of consciousness from the spiritual tradition as well as from main particle physics. So you see that there are many attempts going on and many international physicists have been influenced by spiritual thinking of the India. There are many articles, and I'm seeing here there are many illustrious people who have written many articles, which also is related to that. And there are many conferences going on. And one of the conferences that happens every year is in San Jose, California in October. That's called Science and Non-Duality Conference. And the logo of that conference is Ohm is equal to MC square. So you will get that there. So now coming back to what is the role of Indian understanding Indian culture. Now you see Indian cultural worldview understands human being as constituted a physical body, which is called Deha, soul, Jiva, and pure consciousness, Turiya or Atman. So here, what you need to know is among the three physical body disintegrates, and the soul persists, taking new physical body, but self or pure consciousness will sustain, will remain always. So now the point here which we need to understand is we are going on in circles, taking new physical bodies and like discarding an old or torn dress and putting on a new dress. So the idea of whole point is we are in bondage, and when we shift from our locus of identity from body and soul to what is called Atman or Turiya, then we are in a position to know what consciousness is. So what is Turiya and what is Atman? I am going to define it from what is in the Mandukya Upanishad. There is a, I'm sorry, this is getting somewhat disturbing me because it is, I will stop sharing the slide. On the other hand, I will use my PowerPoint to just make the presentation, which makes more sense. Otherwise, I may unnecessarily disturb the viewers. So Atman is considered to be a state of self-cognition, and I will just go on speaking because it looks like my PowerPoint is giving some trouble. So the whole idea, just to briefly put it, is uh, we are actually in what is called a state of mind which comes and goes like a figure and ground in the waking, in the dream and sleep. And we have a ground consciousness called Turiya. And Turiya happens to be the state of pure consciousness, and that is our identity. This is the position of Mandukya Upanishad. And now, if you understand that, the contemporary physicists are speaking about primacy of consciousness, which they have come from the scientific point of view. So, where are we meeting? What are the concerns? Is the study of consciousness in the spiritual traditions of India, are they purely intellectual curiosity, or do they have any kind of practical application? As I earlier mentioned about the idea of self or Atman and getting released from self and getting grounded in self and Atman is called mukti and liberation, whereas being in the waking, dream, and sleep is considered bondage. Now, what is the implication of all this understanding? Does it have any practical consideration? And why there are people who are trying to bring the Indian knowledge and developments in physics. So I want to make a mention of one interaction I had with one of the famous theoretical physicists who is an emeritus professor in San Jose back in 2015. He made a presentation and he said consciousness is primary for our understanding. During the lunch hour, I asked him, we have two different perspectives on consciousness as primary. One is from the Advaita Vedanta, another from Sankhya Yoga. So which one he is representing, or which one he thinks is his position? He immediately said Advaita Vedanta. Then I asked him a second question. If modern physics has spoken about theory of relativity and it has come to quantum level and all that, and Indian yogis, if you put them in a sealed chamber or a sealed room, they can simply walk out of the wall or the door. So how do you explain it? Because no physicist is known to have had any such experience manifested. Then he simply said, well, that is the domain of parapsychologists. So are we speaking about consciousness as a pure intellectual inquiry? Are we answering some of the experiences of people? Are we looking for many dimensions of awareness, human possibilities that we can think of? So how a person who is grounded in pure consciousness, who is also known as a Brahmagnani in the Indian tradition, how does he operate in the universe? What is the extent of yoga one can go up to when a person is in that consciousness? So I have two brief video clippings which is taken from YouTube, which is freely downloadable. I will try to play them. If it works well, then I think I am able to continue. And I request Jeff to let me know when I should stop because I have lost some time. Okay, let us see whether I'll be able to do that.
आज मैं खुद आ गया हूँ मैं। बाहर आ सामने, बाहर आ। आज कोई भी ढाल तुझे बचा नहीं सकती साईं, नहीं बचाएगी तुझे, हाँ समझे? अरे साईं बाहर तो आ, सामने आ।
Hello?
Yeah, I'm seeing it and hearing it.
Hello.
Yes?
ये क्या देख रहा हूं मैं? अरे अरे लगता है किसी ने साईं बाबा की हत्या की है और इस वक्त तो मैं अकेला हूँ। साईं बाबा की हत्या का आरोप मुझ पे लगेगा।
Well, uh, you are seeing one of the famous saints of India who lived back in the 20th century, and who lived back uh, in the 20th century. He practiced what is called Khanda Yoga. Khanda Yoga is you can just take away limbs, torso and head and keep aside. And this is the height of yoga. And you can assemble back like a toy and you can come back to life. This is the extent of yoga one can achieve. And it is not only in the life of Sai Baba, it has been documented even in the life of other saints. So, what is consciousness? Where is it in the body? Where is it in the universe? So, this is one example I have taken. Now, another example which addresses the issue of beyond time and space and the question of human compassion a person can achieve when one becomes one with the universe and consciousness. I have one more video. I hope to play it next and it will work properly, I suppose. I will just play this and then I will give a little explanation for that.
अरे इधर आओ
जी
कहाँ जा रहे हो?
इसमें छेद हो गया है, वो भरवाने जा रहा था।
वो उस लोहारिन के पास। इसका मतलब ये कि लुहार और लुहारिन अब तक सीढ़ी में ही हैं। बाबा उसकी भट्टी तो सीढ़ी में है ना? तात्या, उस लुहार से कह दो कि भट्टी बंद कर दे।
बाबा, यदि लोहार ने भट्टी बंद कर दी तो कमाएगा क्या, खाएगा क्या?
नूर बाजी, मैंने हमेशा के लिए भट्टी बंद करने के लिए नहीं कहा है। सिर्फ दीपावली के 4 दिन तक भट्टी बंद करना चाहिए। जाओ तात्या, जाकर उस लोहार से कह दो कि भट्टी 4 दिनों तक बंद कर दे। जाओ। बेवकूफी की भी हद होती है। नदी में मगरमच्छ है, ये सब जानते हैं कि वो कई लोगों को पकड़कर नदी में लेके जा चुका है। फिर भी लोग उसी किनारे पर जाकर अपने बच्चे को नहलाएंगे। क्या ये जानबूझकर अपने बच्चे को आग की भट्टी में झोंकने की कोशिश नहीं है?
अरे ये आप क्या कह रहे हैं देवा? अरे नदी को आप आग से जोड़ रहे हैं?
अरे मैं इंसान की कम अकली बताने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ श्यामा।
परंतु आप कोशिश करते रहेंगे देवा और उधर एक इंसान की जान चली जाएगी।
Santa's light है
अगर
यार।
उसकी इतनी चिंता है
Santa,
आप बचाते क्यों नहीं?
श्यामा,
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಲೈಟ್
मेरे
ಒಂದು
रोकने
ನಿಮಿಷ
से होनी नहीं रुकेगी।
अरे तो फिर आप क्यों
ಲೈಟ್
चिल्ला रहे हैं? होने दीजिए ना जो।
अरे श्यामा, तुम भी कमाल करते हो। मेरे सामने अनर्थ हो रहा है और मैं उसे होने दूं?
अरे यही तो मैं कह रहा हूँ, मत होने दीजिए जो होने जा रहा है। लेकिन आप भी कहते हैं कि होनी को कोई नहीं टाल सकता। अरे आप दो तरफी बातें करते हैं देवा। आप दिल से उस इंसान को बचाना चाहते हैं, मगरमच्छ उस इंसान को अरे अपने पेट में ले जाएगा, है ना? आपकी आंखों के सामने उसे घसीटकर पानी में ले जाए, उसे खा जाए, लेकिन आप उसे बचाना नहीं चाहते, है ना?
तुम हमेशा उल्टी बातें करते हो श्यामा।
अरे उल्टी बातें तो आप कर रहे हैं देवा, हम सब समझते हैं। वो जरूर आपका कोई भक्त होगा जो गलत काम कर रहा है, या उससे कोई गई होगी और उस भूल से उसका बुरा होने वाला है। अरे फिर भी आप उससे रोकने की कोशिश नहीं कर रहे। तुम मुझे दोष दे रहे हो श्यामा? नहीं नहीं नहीं, अरे आपसे कोई दोष ना हो, मैं यही चाहता हूँ देवा। आखिर 72 जन्मों का संबंध जो है हमारा।
अरे मुन्ने की माँ, जरा जल्दी आना।
क्या हुआ जी?
Kumar, are you there? Did we lose you?
Looks like everything froze for a moment.
Yeah.
Including Kumar himself, yeah.
Yeah, I think Kumar dropped off. I just lost him.
Overload there.
Let's see if he slides back in. Well, ironically, that's just about on time for a finish. So perhaps there's some, wider thing in consciousness sort of going on there. Let's see. But I haven't seen, while we have this moment, I haven't seen Gary yet. So Gary, are you here? I feel like this is a normal conference, right? Where you're standing in front of the room being like, okay, are you here?
Okay. So shall I conclude? Jeff?
Yeah, go ahead and conclude. Take a couple more minutes or so, and
okay.
and
So
wrap it up for us.
what am I audible, Jeff?
Yep.
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah. So what you saw here is the saint. This is the true life incident that happened in the life of the Saint Sai Baba. It is a TV serial produced. So what you are seeing is Sai Baba was aware of a calamity that is going to happen in the family of that Smith. And he forewarned that they should not be in town, they should close the furnace and go out of the Deepavali light festival for 4 days. But the Smith ignored it, and Sai Baba on the day that calamity is going to happen was aware what is happening somewhere far away from the place where he was staying, but he was entering into an argument with his other disciples because they were saying, if you are aware of what is going to happen, a catastrophe, then you should protect the people who is going to be affected. So he was kind of arguing, but at the same time, the awareness was present in him about what is happening at a long distance. Nowadays, the concept of remote viewing is so much discussed. So I don't say it is remote viewing, because when you say remote viewing, you are sitting here and you are watching there, but you are present everywhere. It is more of omnipresence. So you see that he was compassionate. He kept his hand in the fireplace where he stayed, but he was able to rescue a baby at let us say 1 mile or 2 mile away, which is falling into the fireplace. That is the brief clipping of that video, and it is taken from a free downloadable YouTube available on the net for everybody to view. So what I want to emphasize and close this is the Indian understanding of consciousness has got a lot of range and depth. Charles Stalt, in his book Altered States of Consciousness, mentions just as Eskimos have many terms for snow to describe its different shades and hues across different seasons, Indian understanding of consciousness is there at many levels. It is multidimensional and it has been there for several thousands of years. And Yoga Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, they have all emerged from that type of understanding. So we will see that if we understand what is consciousness, it has three implications as far as Indian tradition is concerned. Number one, primacy of consciousness means it is universal. It includes not just one human being, but the whole of the universe. It means, developing many capabilities, many abilities, as Maslow put it, as further reaches of human nature. And also it has a compassionate dimension, because Sai Baba or any other saint in India who came and gone, they lived like, very ordinary people. So what I want to suggest to in conclusion is, if we are able to undertake up the Society for Consciousness Studies, if it undertakes some project where we have a collaborative team of Vedanta and Sankhya Yoga scholars who are traditional, and we have a team of linguists, Sanskrit linguists, then we have physicists, neuroscientists, psychologists. We have to come together and try to bridge the conceptual, ontological, and epistemological issues which emerge because of translational problem or because the context in which certain concepts have been developed. I keep seeing and reading here and there, many of the Indian ideas have been introduced in many of the literature where sometimes they get misrepresented. Sometimes translations are not sufficient because many of the Indian concepts cannot be easily translated. So this is at the ontological and epistemological framework level. We can do some collaboration of that kind. And coming to the actual experiences, R.B. Kettle, the psychologist who developed personality questionnaires, said we have to first develop a personality sphere, taking into account all the different kinds of words and terminology, synonyms and antonyms. So I suggest we should develop a consciousness sphere, because in India we have many classical languages, more than 26 classical languages, and we have umpteen first-person accounts which are authenticated about a variety of experiences of consciousness. So if we are able to bring them together, do a content analysis, use grounded theory approach, and develop some kind of a schema, cartography, compare it with Stanislav Grof. So we can do a lot of things. And I'm very sorry because of the network problem. My time is taken. So I conclude. I thank once again Jeff for giving me this opportunity.